Out for all of the fans of real Apex Legends is there is a lot of Pathfinder in the lobby, everybody. A lot of Pathfinder for Kings Canyon, no surprise to see as well, with the a lot of the POIs having this extreme change of elevation. One that you can see on your screen right now is going to be claimed as maybe Falcons, but we're going to just ignore that for a second because I think LG just got a bit of a surprise they weren't expecting.
Yeah, you said there's not going to be any contest, but a contest is going to be happening. But it is LG who come out on top over GK. So just as we thought, maybe we'd have a nice, peaceful start to Kings Canyon. It is an explosive start, but LG going to be delighted to come out on top of that one. You mentioned the Pathfinders. 10 teams have changed their composition coming into this one. And as you said, it is majority Pathfinder.
It's a path party. That's what it is, Dan. Have you ever been to a path party?
I haven't. Are they any good?
So you're just not cool enough to come.
I'm really not.
One of those situations.
There's one crypto in the lobby as well, I may add, and then we heard about, the crypto room, the map room on Kings Canyon. So maybe there's going to be opportunity to drop down there and start role-playing.
Oh, here we go. If you start role-playing crypto, by the way, on broadcast, we know that we certainly are in a strange time. This is where we're going to be going, though, and this is where rFaide said that he made... Oh, no, it was actually Runoff, sorry, he said he made $0, and that's certainly not going to happen for a lot of these teams. Gauntlet is looking like a real possibility. People might pull out a little bit from the edge in the coastal area. CR trying to make a little bit of a move. We get a little peek in at Jem Burton as well, just to check he's okay. But it's going to be Crazy Raccoon who moving through this central area, which can be somewhat of a death trap here. Outside the bunker that they were talking about is... especially when the teams start to get towards the end, the kind of the extreme heights of both sides kind of collide together, and it's very difficult to rotate through late.
I will say that even though teams have been scrimming on this map, just in case it popped up, the data and the scrimmage is not the same as World's Edge and Stormpoint. A circle like this, which is a bit more predictable, is going to be like a breath of fresh air to a lot of these teams saying, okay, thank goodness we are going to have the opportunity to see a circle that is relatively easy to try and predict where the zone's going.
JHS going to use the evac tower for now to try and overtake a few people on their way towards the zone. Looking across elsewhere, GG are set up in zone at the moment, Recheck Winity as well inside of Relic, but they're going to be moving their way a little bit closer to where they believe the zone is going to be going as well. And it's looking like it could be a Gauntlet zone, which is always an interesting one for sure. Maybe even airbase. If it's airbase, I do like airbase finishes sometimes. I think there's some really good ones that pull out a little bit later on, but it looks like Gauntlet is going to be the coolest. Well, the first, so I say, stop maybe on the rotation here for RC.
Well, I said I liked Broken Moon, but I do like Gauntlet because it has Octane's launch pads, right? And there is that opportunity in an endgame for those launch pads to really come into the equation and change things, to be able to send it on a team, for example. And we may see something like that come to fruition because of where this zone seems to be heading. You can see Reject, GG, EVOS are all down there. Team Liquid are starting to move. FaZe also moving from airbase down to the southwest of this map as well. So there isn't going to be much room to play. That's the real concern. I think we might see a few teams have to go with Relic a little bit later on.
Ooh, Crazy Raccoon have taken a little bit of damage here. You can see at least one knock has come in. The knockdown shield is being held up, and it's EXL who are trying to push onto this at the moment. Brute is trying to brute force his way through to try and find the remaining members, and it looks like two are certainly down, and the knockdown shield is blue. Looks cool. Doesn't last forever, though.
So Crazy Raccoons are just going to be running away with their tails between the legs, you'd imagine here, because it's going to be rough to try and fight with just two. Pioneer's also moving through. This is the kind of period of the game, by the way, where you do start to see a lot of fights happen because people will follow noise, because there is a real opportunity for third parties in Kings Canyon, especially when everyone moves at the same time. A lot of these central positions have a lack of playable space, and you can get caught out on your rotation.
EXL set up for now, but as you can see on the map overhead, they are going to have to move if they want to get a little bit closer to zone. It was actually interesting to see that Reject Winity, I'm pretty sure they had Zone 3 information from what I could tell from the map overhead as well. So they are going to be, excuse me, round 2 information, ring 2 information. So they're going to have a pretty good read of where they believe the zone is going to be going. And they did choose to play over at Gauntlet. And Gauntlet's an interesting one, right? Because playable space is kind of at a premium. A lot of the areas are kind of exposed. There's no real buildings to play. It's kind of the two end structures of the half pipe, so to speak. But outside of that, it's just kind of a lot of platforms, a couple of rocky formations.
On board with Twisted Minds here, and worth noting they've dropped out of first place. It is going to be Team Liquid who have popped up above them. And they'll have to see whether they can maybe retake that position at the moment as they do get that initial knock. And it's NIP on the receiving end of this one. And going to have to try and fight tooth and nail as a 2. Or maybe Zane says, actually, see you later, Nasky. You're not Pathfinder anymore. That's my legend.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the choice of the latter. And we're seeing the opportunity to get away. But even with the zip line It's not going to be enough to give them that fortification they needed to make it away as we turn our attentions over to Twisted Mind once more. This time from height. You can see Player K up on height, and they're looking for more ninjas in pajamas. Have been eliminated as Easy Flash gets that final kill. So a little bit of a rough one. A little bit of a rough start, I have to say, for NIP.
Yeah, Twisted Mind's just taking the west side of Relic at the moment, which actually, the further west they go, they will be able to hold that position for quite a while. But Disguised have kind of got ahead of them. They are far south, but Disguised have a lot of cover at the moment. And that Wraith Portal will come into play later on to allow them to potentially make a late dash towards Gauntlet. I will say one of the difficulties with southwest areas is trying to traverse from the likes of Airbase to Gauntlet. There is a zip that can take you across sometimes, but if you are forced to walk out of Airbase, you are so exposed to those teams who have already found themselves over towards Gauntlet. So if you aren't one of the early movers, you might struggle.
LG are going to be moving for quite some time, by the looks of things. They're quite happy with the position they find themselves in. EXL, they're going to have to take a fight, though, because you can see they've just landed, and, oh, it's a rough landing by the looks of things, because Crazy Raccoon are up on that high ground and looking to send it on the final two members as they're trying to scarper away. So it's looking like this could be a 2v2 scenario, if I'm not mistaken. CR were down to just the two players. But a 2v2 with the talent that's on this team of Yuzna and Sang-yoon is usually enough to get the job done. There's the shield break, there's the spray, but the spray isn't good enough, and now Sang-yoon has to clean up after his teammate.
Yeah, wants to clean up, but the door is going to be a pain in the backside right now and can't get the shots. And it might be a situation where Crazy Raccoon go down, but he wants to go down by doing a little bit of damage of his own. If he goes down, he wants someone else with him, but it will be Crazy Raccoon eliminated. But there is going to be more players in the area. It's going to be Makers, by the way, who are joint last at the moment. So their tournament lives at risk as we start to reach the halfway point of today's action.
I always find it fascinating when we look at some of these buildings, as we see an EMP going off here from Ziki, but I want to talk about the buildings of Kings Canyon. Feel a little bit more flimsy than some of the ones that we see on Storm Point World's Edge, right? There's so many angles that you could be peppered from and just shot through these little cracks in the woodwork, so to speak. It makes it a little bit more difficult to hold them, even if you have a priority position to hold down.
So worth noting, we did have a glimpse at the map a little bit earlier. That zone has moved away from Gauntlet. Just as I was saying, it's one of the zones. It's pretty easy to predict. It looks like it's going southwest. We see so many teams commit. Speaking of committing, Makers commit to the damage and take down one player of EXL, and there'll just be a solo left to try and survive. But a big zone shift, which is really going to impact those teams who committed heavily to the south.
Look at the speed of this game, by the way. There's so many fights taken, and this is Kings Canyon, baby. This is what you can expect. Just fight after fight after fight after fight. And Guild now, you're looking to clean up a few more pieces of damage that they've done to turn it into kills and points. Legacy was a couple of grenades going in. The Arcstar following the frag grenade for now, as now he changes to the 30-30, and that is enough to get the final kill here. Ex-Cholo's laser will be eliminated, and that will be them picking up another point.
That'll be them out, but that does mean we've only got, 16 teams left. Just like that, we see another team go down. It's going to be Red Rams falling, so it's 15. Far more fast-paced game than what we just witnessed on World's Edge. But this is what you voted for. This is what you wanted to see.
This is what you did.
This was your fault, viewers. But honestly, it's great to see Kings Canyon back on our screens. But maybe the players, some of them, not enjoying it as much. The zone shift, though, has benefited teams like Team Liquid, Luminosity, GHS, who have all kind of been waiting on that northern side and now have buildings to work with.
Well, we're in the bunker, and we all know what it's like to get in and out of the bunker. It can be extremely tough to do, but if you're one of the best teams in the world, certainly it's a challenge you're more than willing to take. However, they are a little bit sandwiched at the moment, and I'm pretty sure they're not actually safe, if I'm not mistaken, where they find themselves. And you can see Makers are on one side of the bunker. On the other side of the bunker, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Fennel. So this is a tough, tough spot for Falcons to try and work their way through. They need to be really clean in either fight here to give themselves the best chance to survive.
And Pioneers are also in the area as well. So yeah, this is going to be a real scrap. They will be able to survive in this zone temporarily, so they're not going to be forced right here, right now to make a decision. But certainly as the zone closes in a little bit later, they will have to do something very quickly.
This is the other side, though. As you can see, it's going to be Falcons who try and maybe play for some kills, and they catch KCP off guard here. Omnu will go down, so the negative rotate into the zone was not what was expected, and now you're going to see what happens on the other side of it. It's Fennel, who essentially do the exact same thing to ImperialHal and Zero. Jim Burton will go down, but they do manage to do enough damage to at least send them back, but it is a 2v3 situation for Falcons to try and overcome.
Yeah, it was Fennel that were holding down that position within bunker that was safe away from the zone. As Falcons left it, We saw Fennel take advantage of it, and now Fennel are going to have a 3 versus 2 here, and they are getting aggressive.
They zip over, but this is Hal and Zero they've got to deal with, and they're not going to be able to. It's going to be a huge clutch coming in from Falcons, and even though Zero will fall, they should be able to reset here. But I tell you what, they've got to be quicker. They've got to get a move on. Maker's still on the other side of this zone as well, and they're going to have to be careful of those health meds.
Well, Makers have just been able to push into the zone on the other side, and Pioneers have left, so Falcons are going to survive here. Will get the opportunity to reset, and there is no one on the other side now. Somehow, some way, Falcons are able to get it done, but we can temporarily look at Makers. I mentioned earlier, they are on last position alongside the Pioneers, so both of these teams are vulnerable. They need points. They need to find a good finish so they can be somewhat secure going into these last 5 games.
If you are looking for me to give you an answer as to how Falcons are alive, I don't have one. They really shouldn't be, but that's just what they do, isn't it? In these situations where most teams would fall over, Falcons find a way to make it work. And now with Fennel dealt with, that was the team who was holding them out on this side. They now have a much clearer walk into zone.
Pioneers did rotate all the way round as we could check on some replays of what happened here on the elsewhere on the side of the map, excuse me. But now we can look at Falcons and what happened for them previously.
The confidence!
This is live!
The confidence!
Pushing in!
Oh my goodness, Pioneers just got run over, and Falcons, one fight can turn things, one game can turn things, right? And Falcons, they just want to fight everyone now, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, they've got all the confidence in the world, and I'm not really surprised. Aurora going to be south of them, FaZe also on the other side, but now down in the southwest. Remember, all these teams committed very early to this spot, and now they're being punished for it. Reject Winity are getting massacred.
Kananpu last alive, trying to play behind the knockdown and the gen. Might be able to pick up a kill if he's careful here, but it's GG who are putting pressure onto the final solo on that low ground. It'll be Guild Esports who do get eliminated. And you mentioned the bounce pad. Well, it's a bounce pie. However, one player goes down. This is looking a little bit awkward. Kananpu still alive here, by the way. And all of a sudden, GG, in one of those situations we saw them in on World's Edge, but it's the same result. They managed to get the kills. Reject Winity will be eliminated.
But launch pads galore, because there's going to be more teams getting involved. GG go down. It's Team Liquid who full send it. They saw the weakness. They saw the opportunity for KP, and they grasp that moment and make sure they secure those kills, as there is a small lull across the map now as all the teams that were weak get eliminated. Falcons on the north. They have Aurora and Makers and FaZe all around them. Most importantly, they are still alive here, and they are starting to catch up Team Liquid. Remember, Team Liquid were leading, but are still alive.
If you're wondering where the zone is ending, in the middle of nowhere is pretty much all I can give you. No buildings to play. It's going to be finding little head glitches, rocky formations, the undulations, the natural ones of the ground in front of you are going to be essentially what you're trying to use for your cover. And you're looking at the likes of your Bangalore's, right? Those smokes, how you use them, the teams that you focus the attention away from, they're going to be so valuable. And I think just a lot of eyes are going to be on the Bangalore players right now as to how they zone out different teams.
Yeah, 9 out of the 10 teams left, oh sorry, 8 out of the 9 teams left have a Bangalore as well. So there is going to be a lot of smokes to try and cut off that vision and ensure that you can be able to push into that zone and find a spot to play with. Now, one team that already has found a spot is Aurora. They're going to be sent to zone, but we have some late arrivals here, and this is going to be dicey for Disguise. They are going to be tickled by this zone, and they will be exposing themselves because they've split up, but maybe that's okay having a Wraith, because you could potentially save your last remaining player, but it looks like they will join on the eastern side here. They're all going to move together.
Fascinating to see that we've got Team Liquid, Twisted Minds, and Team Falcons still in this game, and they are your top 3 currently as it stands. On board with Team Falcons, they found their way into the ditch here, but look at the Bangalore ultimate going down. The Rolling Thunder is causing them some problems. Zero has to take a few seconds to pop a battery, and this is what I mean about this end zone. Look at how exposed it is.
Well, Falcons wanted Kings Canyon, and they have got Kings Canyon, and I want to see why they wanted it. You can already see all on full red. They've already done damage within bunker, but can they make it count in this final zone?
So many knocks elsewhere. No teams going down fully, though, as you see Aurora trying to escape. Disguise will be eliminated. Twisted Minds will also fall as Makers. This is a big game for them. 16th place overall at the moment, but how that could change as Aurora will fall as well.
Makers were in last, so this has been the game that they needed. Maybe Kings Canyon was the key to getting back into this tournament. Luminosity will fall. 5 squads now remain. It's going to be FaZe, Falcons, Makers, GHS, and Team Liquid. But Falcons trying to catch up Team Liquid, and they are not far behind. And they hold this northern side, which does work out because there is a lot of map for them to work with here. This is going to be a very hilly terrain. There's going to be lots of ups and downs, a little bit of a head glitch available for certain squads.
It's interesting to see the Falcons are going to force their way into zone. FaZe have a lot of space. on the western side of the zone at the moment, but they also have to progress forward to get in towards that zone. GHS Professional probably have the best spot when it comes to cover. Team Liquid are a long way out for now, and Makers are now trying to make their move onto GHS Professional. They want to try and take this fight now and take away the best spot on the map.
Liquid are above them, but the fight's going to happen below them as Makers will get involved. It doesn't look like it's going to be a success, though. GHS holds strong, and they do it so successfully, they're going to have so much health, they don't have to worry about a third party. No one's going to be pushing up on that, and it will be a chance for them to just stay here, hold this building. As you mentioned, one of the only buildings that is going to be in this final circle, but it's not exactly the most kind of close-knitted building, right? There's a lot of exposed areas.
Not a lot of space to poke out from either. It's just one of the smallest buildings, I think, in Apex Legends is a singular building, and that compound, although it's a good one to hold for now, will be one that they'll be able to kind of put some output from. But Team Liquid now take the high ground. But have they gone too early? Because FaZe still have the elevation to put this damage down. It's Nax, the man on your screen, who gets the knock onto Jaguares.
FaZe and Team Falcons both peppering Team Liquid, who are on the top of that building, and GHS might just be able to clean up the pieces as they arrive to the ground here. But certainly FaZe Clan with an opportunity to have one of their big games. Remember, they have looked amazing previously in other competitions, and they would love to find that same form here at the Esports World Cup.
Team Liquid eliminated. We are into our final 3 teams. It's GHS, Team Falcons, and FaZe. Falcons looking to go back-to-back here as well.
Go back-to-back and maybe take first place at the halfway point of these 10 matches. It's big grenades, and they are cooking GHS Professional at the moment. It should be Falcons versus FaZe in this final fight because they are both looking towards GHS, but Falcons are taking a look over towards FaZe and saying, we recognize where you are, so if you can kind of step 1 foot wrong, we'll be peppering you.
Zero managed to get one knock with his frag grenade, but it will be reset, I'm pretty sure, for GHS. They will be able to get back up to a 4-3. And you can see the Falcons are very, very aware of the position that FaZe have, right? Because they have the elevation above them for now. So they're trying to focus the kills first, followed by then turning the attention to FaZe. They are expecting FaZe to be looking at the same thing that they are right now. They want to take care of GHS, and then, as you say, focus on each other.
Worth noting, GHS do have that crypto, the solar crypto we mentioned, and could have an EMP to really impact how this final circle goes, but they're trying to move out now, and they're running towards FaZe.
FaZe, though, they're not letting them run towards them. They're putting a huge amount of damage in. Nags will get one. Zero gets one on the side of Falcons, so the kills are being shared out. But while the attention is being pulled away, Falcons tried to make that move, but what a Bangalore ult that is. Coming in from FaZe, they force Falcons just to slow that push down as GHS Professional will be eliminated.
It's Falcons versus FaZe. It's North America versus EMEA, and it is a matchup, a mouth-watering 3v3 to finish off this match 5 here on Kings Canyon.
Well, here comes everything from Falcons as well. All the utility going in. You're going to see the Rolling Thunder coming in from Zero. You're going to see the grenades going in from Hal as well, and it's about who can get that first knock. At the moment, it looks like FaZe are kind of trapped behind a couple of these rocks, and now the swing is coming in. Falcons will get one, but Zero, he has gone down as well.
Tied 2-2, but oh my, shred from ImperialHal, and now it should be theirs. It's just a matter of cleaning up.
Now it's just about cleaning up, like you say, and it will be back to back for Falcons.
And the crowd erupts once more for the home team of Team Falcons, the team that is leading the Esports World Cup, and the team that is looking to try and take Apex Legends and slot that key into the totem. And not only is it a victory, but it is points on the board, and more than likely jumping up to that first place at the halfway point here in Group A.
Points on the board, and I would say big ones as well. How many kills did we see Team Falcons picking